is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back here with some more Resident Evil gameplay for you. And today is the culmination of a series I started earlier this year called the Resident Evil One and Done character list. And if you want to check out this series, I'll leave a link in the description down below. But it started with Billy and it just ended with Helena. The whole purpose of this series is bringing to light and attention so many Resident Evil characters in major Resident Evil games, and those games go from 0, 1, 2, 3, Revelations 1, Code Veronica, 4, 5, Revelations 2, 6, 7, and 8. So those are the ones I consider the major games, and I pretty much consider characters that have only appeared in one of those major games for the most part, and have never appeared again. They have just disappeared off the face of the earth after their initial debut. And those characters, as I say, consist of the ones, and I didn't get every single one, but I got the ones that I think could really matter in the grand scheme of things. And basically, they started with Billy, Carlos, Hunk, Sheva, Helena, Jessica, Jake, Alex Wesker, Mora, etc., etc. And with these characters, I just wanted to bring to light something I've always felt very strong about. And maybe this is what you would consider a hot take. I don't really think it's so much of a hot take. I just think it's more once you understand the background behind it. But Resident Evil has a problem with a lot of these one and done characters. And it's why I've always been very, I guess, against seeing new characters in Resident Evil. So if like we have, let's say, Resident Evil 9 coming out whenever it does, or any new Resident Evil game, a lot of people are saying, well, I want to see brand new characters. And once again, I have no problem with brand new characters, but I personally do not want to see brand new characters. And the reason why is simple. Because what's the chances of those brand new characters, once again, becoming, as I just said, one and done? When I see a character, I hope that character is used for multiple, games, multiple times in a series. And it just sucks because you look at all these one and done characters that's listed. At one point, they had a debut game, and they looked like an interesting character that they were going to piggyback and continue off of. But unlike with all the other major characters, they just had that one game, and then they're done forever. So, for every, I guess in the last few years and entries of Resident Evil, for every Ethan Winters you get, a character they did try to use for multiple games, how many more characters are just like that, and then they're never used again? I'm not even talking about, used in terms of being the main character again. I just mean used at all. I mean, they're not even brought back for like a cameo or nothing. And I don't want them brought back for just a simple cameo. I like to see them used and established in a meaningful way. But when I always hear people talking about, I want new characters, I'm like, what? So they could join the Capcom one and done bar like the other characters? I mean, damn. I mean, as I said, I started with Billy Cone. Like, how long has it been since we've seen Billy Cone? I mean, it's been since Resident Evil 0. And characters like Carlos and Helena and Sheva, and then the whole big mystery of Alex Wesker. I mean, how many of these characters have only appeared in one game, and they've just disappeared off the face of the earth? I think when I see some comments talking about how they get tired of the Leons and the Chris's and maybe even the Jills and Claire's and Ada's, I think it comes from the standpoint, hey, we always see them a lot, and a lot of things, maybe not necessarily all the time in new titles, but in remakes. But I think what we get really tired of is the fact that if we used all the characters properly, we wouldn't have that fatigue with the other characters. I know a lot of people usually say it with a Chris or a Leon more than any other character, but the problem is like, hey, if you use these other characters that we've only seen in one major game, then like we could have easily not had this fatigue. We wouldn't have this whole problem of only seeing the same characters over and over again. If we used them properly and kind of divided the workload a lot better, we wouldn't have that whole character fatigue. It's kind of like how I feel with the DC universe in terms of the overusage of Batman. I mean, listen, I love Batman. He's my favorite fictional character of all time, but I like to see other characters too. And if we divided that workload a lot better, I think we'd have a lot better of a universe over there. And with Resident Evil, there's just so many characters, it's almost criminal. So when we get to whenever a new major Resident Evil game comes out, I'm just at the standpoint of like, okay, is this character going to be seen this one time and then they're gone forever? Is that how it's going to be? Because that's basically the odds we're playing with. I mean, for every one character that comes back, it's like you have another 5+ more that are disappearing forever. And it wasn't like every single one of these characters I did on a one and done list were characters that people maybe didn't resonate too well with. I mean, seriously, people have always wanted to see Carlos come back or something like that. But no, it's never happened. People hadn't get that. And obviously, like someone like Alex Wesker with story and plot and lore reasons, I mean, for goodness sakes, as well as the cliffhanger like off. I mean, it's been a decade. But no set to that return, which just makes no sense. And it just kind of gets me to a point where that's my biggest thing. Like, as I said, I don't hate new characters. It's not that I'm saying I don't want them. Now that you can basically guarantee you're going to use them, but it's just there's so many already characters that could be used and brought back and used in a meaningful way. Maybe not just in games, but maybe in some movies or maybe make a show or something. But no, it's just it frustrates me when there's so many of them. And I think that's the whole point I'm trying to get to, is that when you have so many of these games that are just having all these characters, as they like to joke about, sitting in that one and done bar. And it seems like Capcom, not just with characters in Resident Evil, it's a lot of franchises when they're just sitting there waiting to be called up. Ain't that right, Dino Crisis? But are just sitting there waiting for their number to be called. And I don't understand why they wouldn't want to do that. Why they wouldn't want to use these characters. As I said, a lot of them are characters that people really love and enjoy. A lot of them people like to see return in some way, but it's just like they want to do the same thing. And that's where that fatigue comes from, with the Chris's and the Leons. And I know, with, like, Chris personally, he hasn't been shown in any of the remakes, but he's just been in the newer titles, and he really hasn't been in there very often. I mean, his last true major appearance was 6, because in 7 and 8, he was just kind of like 7, he was only in the very ending. I know they had a little Not a Hero DLC for him. And then 8 was just, kind of just a few moments. And then at the end of the game, it was a small playable segment. But it wasn't like a major segment. But so I wouldn't say he was used at the best of his efficiency. But still, it's just the fact that that's all you've seen in all the major new games is just him. While Leon, while he doesn't appear in the major new games, he's in basically just about all the remakes. He's in every animated film. And I'm just thinking, okay, did he really need to be in all these spots? I love Leon as much as the next person, but you could have used those spots for a lot of people. A lot of people could have had extra time with and been involved in certain things and, use those characters. But it's just, I don't know. It's like, why would you even create all those characters in the first place if you're not going to use them? I mean, it's not like all those characters just died and, that's the end of their story. No, they're still around. They're still working if they're working for their corporations, or they still have a lot of motives to continue on in the storyline, or for various reasons. It's just really kind of just sad that I'm at this point where it's just like I'm counting bottles of beer on the wall, thinking, how many more characters are going to be in this exclusive club that nobody wants to be in. My whole point of this video, the whole purpose of my one and done characters, was to just make attention to that. And I hope that probably not, but maybe the powers that be at Capcom realize, hey, there's a lot of characters in this franchise. They're just, it's just like they're just one and done. They're never used again, and that's unacceptable to me. And I don't appreciate that at all. I want to see these characters used and used in meaningful ways, because I think we can see them all brought back and used in meaningful ways. Tons of them. And these are only the ones I've did videos on. There's a few others you could have done some on one and done that could have been brought back. I just want to keep to the major games. Even in them, I didn't get every single character. So it's over 10 at this point. I know I did 9 of them, but damn, Capcom, listen, I love Resident Evil, I love the franchise, but I don't like seeing all these characters be one and done. And think about it like this. I remember when we were all saying, like, hey, they don't know how to use characters like Jill and Claire right. They barely ever use them. And they're main characters. I mean, Jill had a 15-year hiatus in terms of storylines after Resident Evil 5. They didn't know what to do with her, and that's Jill effing Valentine. If they're doing that to Jill, what chance do the other characters have? The one and done characters. And that's the point that I wanted to bring attention to. And I think, honestly, we got to be a little bit loud in our voices here. Regardless of when the next Resident Evil comes out, if it's Resident Evil 9 or it's a brand new title, in the future, I like to see these characters used, because that's the whole point. I like to see them really brought back and see how their stories pan out, just because it would take a lot of that fatigue off of the existing characters as well, because I see some people want to move on past them, but we wouldn't have that feeling if we didn't use the existing characters 24/7. Like their whole obsession they had with both Leon and Chris, especially starting the post Resident 4 era and that going on from the future, they just couldn't get enough of Chris and Leon. And the problem is when you keep, it's like your favorite food. You keep eating your favorite food every single day, it's not going to become your favorite food. You're going to get tired of it, even if it is your favorite. Like, you know, it's my all-time favorite character is Ada Wong. I don't want to see Ada Wong star in every single major Resident Evil game. I like it when she would come in there, like, for a game, and maybe be another couple games you see her again. You know, it keeps the whole idea of the character and everything, you know, fresh and not oversaturated. But unfortunately, especially like people like Chris and Leon, and I love both the characters, they sometimes become a little oversaturated. And it's like you have so many other... It's not like you have no other characters or they haven't created any characters. They do. They have the characters. They just... I don't know. They don't want to use them. I really don't get them. And besides, you know, who doesn't want to see moves like this return from Elena? I don't know. I just always laugh at those combo moves. But anyway, hopefully I made that point clear to you. So, as I usually end the video, that's my opinion. I want to hear your guys' opinion. What do you really think about all this? As I said, with my series 1 and done, I have a lot of characters I'd like to see brought back and used in meaningful ways. And not every single character I necessarily love. Like I said, I wasn't a big Jake fan, but it doesn't mean I don't want to see them brought back, because I do think they can be used in a proper way, barring my personal liking or disliking from them. Because I want to see these characters brought back. Which characters would you like to see brought back that was a part of one and done list? And even characters maybe I didn't get to, that are part of the one that weren't part of my one and done list. Like, which characters would you like to see brought back? And do you think bringing back a lot of these one and done characters will fix a lot of the fatigue with certain characters as a problem, as well as just make the universe feel more expansive in Resident Evil? Because it's just like you have so many characters that could be there helping out in so many meaningful ways, and it just seems like Capcom doesn't want to do it. But let me know down in the comment section down below. But thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully I can see you guys back in the next one. Thanks, and I'll see you all later. Peace.